Toronto Blue Jays have no answer for what the Seattle Mariners are doing right now in the ALCS. What is up, everybody? Welcome into Bad for Baseball. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. Now, it is no secret that we are Toronto Blue Jays fans here.
Yep.
We are Toronto Blue Jays fans here. We try to keep our bias out of it as much as possible. I don't think that's going to be possible today. Granted, the bias in me is telling me that we are getting absolutely spanked right now by what is a better ball team. The Seattle Mariners, whilst they were facing all the adversity in the world, 15 innings against the Detroit Tigers only less than a week ago, walked into Toronto in Game 1 and put on a clinic of pitching. They beat them 3-1 in Game 1, limiting what was a very hot Toronto Blue Jays offense walking into this series. And then they followed that performance up with their own offensive outburst, putting up double digits and limiting Toronto to 3 runs. Quick thoughts right now on how damn good the Seattle Mariners are playing.
I always thought the Mariners would be this damn good. Like, the offense on paper is what I love the most. You look up and down that roster, you got Randy. He's a legend in the playoffs. He shows up in the big moments. Cal Raleigh, big dump with 60 homers. Julio Rodriguez, he hasn't had that kind of postseason moment yet, but it feels like he already had one the other night, hitting a 3-run bomb in that 10-3 ball game. Polanco, Naylor's a dog. Suarez is a big boy. They just have such a good lineup on paper, and it all began with that amazing trade deadline that they had. And I said this, you said this, as soon as they had that trade deadline, I thought they were the scariest team in the AL. And they're going up against the Blue Jays in this series that many people were picking the Blue Jays to win. And all the betting sites had Blue Jays to win. But on paper, these guys are showing up right now. Like, Blue Jays on paper are you could argue, are definitely weaker in a lot of areas, but they're showing up in all facets. You saw it with the 10-3 game offensively. You're seeing it with their bullpen right now, and you're seeing it as well with enough starting pitching you got in Game 1.
Yeah, I think that Seattle is playing an incredible brand of baseball. There is no easy outs at all for that Toronto Blue Jays pitching staff, especially yesterday. And we saw the Seattle Mariners, and I think this is why I am so enamored with their team and how they've built their roster, because we've seen them now win 2 very different ball games.
Yeah.
And in completely different ways. The first one was a completely gritty performance by them. Their pitching really showed up. Bryce Miller, who is, not supposed to be one of their elite pitchers by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, he was by far the worst.
Yeah.
They were desperate to throw him out because they pitched a 15-inning game on the Friday.
And the lowest part of their rotation limited what was the hottest offense in baseball walking into this series, to hardly anything at all. One earned run, right? Their bullpen showed up, and they were capable of winning a hard-fought pitching, defense-first, gritty ball game. So that right there, they got that in their bag.
Crazy 2 hits. Keep going, but crazy that they only got 2 hits the entire game.
2 hits off of their worst pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Showing that they can do that. Even when it's not their ace on the bump, they're still capable of doing that. And then they follow that up by just putting on a clinic on offense and getting people on base, stealing bases, and then when the time is most opportune, when you got ducks on the pond, they come up with the big hit, and that's when you see the home run ball. There was 3 home runs yesterday from the Seattle Mariners. Every single one of them had people on base. They had 2 3-run shots and then 1 2-run shot, and that is just something that if you're the opposing team, you can give up solo homers. We've always talked about this. Solo homers are going to happen. That's just part of the game. Even the best pitchers in baseball will give them up. But when you're giving up multiple 3 2-run shots,
game's over.
Game over.
Game's over. And one of the guys that hit those multiple home run shots, like multiple home run shots, just the 2-run shot was Josh Naylor. And look, maybe I'm infatuated by him because he is Canadian, but you got to love the way this guy plays baseball. It's one of the best I've ever seen in a long time. Just, look at the tool set this guy has. Like, you look at him, you're like, okay, he's a power hitter. Maybe he can flash the leather over there at first base. But little did I know he's got the stolen base thing in his bag as well. He had 30 stolen bases this year, and that's because of his smart ability to read a pitcher's delivery to the plate, time it up, and steal a bag. He stole a base yesterday standing up. And it wasn't even like it was a defensive indifference at all. He stole it standing up. And Josh Naylor became the first player in Mariners history with at least 3 hits, 1 homer, and 1 stolen base in a playoff game. And who would have thought it would be Josh Naylor? He's a ball player, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is something, like all the kids out there, this is the type of player that I want you to look up to, seriously.
Yeah.
Because not only did he have one of the most complete games that I've ever seen, like just in the playoffs as a whole, because he was also flashing the leather, too, over at first base.
Oh, yeah. While he was hurt.
That's what I was going to bring up, right? He was flashing the leather over there at first base. He was stealing bases. He had a big-time home run. He had 3 hits. And on top of all of that, he was grimacing and wincing throughout the entire game. There was something wrong with either his right or his left. I don't know exactly, but it looked like it was either
left hip.
his hip or his obliques or something like that. He wasn't good. He was not 100%. And he was the best player on the field. Fighting through that adversity, that to me is such a great performance by Josh Naylor. And again, even as the team that's getting their asses whooped by him, I can just sit back here and really just give him a tip of the cap of respect for doing that.
I wish that the Blue Jays played more like Josh Naylor. There's one guy, Barger, probably tries to play like it, but he's got the results right now. Another guy that's really, just kind of baffling me by how good he's been this season is Jorge Polanco. This guy for years has just always been this kind of, he's an okay bat. I mean, look at the career regular season, 772, average of 263. Can play multiple positions out there if you need be. And, he's just kind of a filler, like a role player type guy. This season, though, he bumped that OPS up to 821. Average is up to 265. But he hit the home run ball more this year, 26 home runs in the regular season. And that's transferring over into this playoffs. In the 2 games against Toronto, he's driven in 5 runs, hitting a home run, having a 4-for-9 at the dish. Like, that is just remarkable. So, again, one of those guys in the 4-hole, in this deep Mariners lineup with all these names, you got Jorge Polanco in the 4-hole delivering. So, honestly, whatever they're doing in Mariner land, it's working well because you're turning guys like Jorge Polanco into great players.
Well, suddenly, right? That was something that kind of happened overnight for them or over the course of an offseason.
Yeah.
Because last year the whole narrative was they couldn't hit for shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this season, you have one of the deepest lineups in baseball. And it's just so good because there's no free outs at all. That up and down that lineup, there's like 6 guys, I think, that have an OPS over 800. Yeah, let's take a look right here. So just shy is Julio Rodriguez. But you got Cal Raleigh. Let's say Julio because he's right there. You got Polanco. You got Naylor. You got Suarez. You got Canzone.
Wow.
And Randy Rosarina, even though he's not up there, like pretty good nonetheless. So it's just such a tough lineup to get through. And on top of all of that, I mean, their pitching. We haven't even really seen the best of their pitchers yet in this series.
No.
They're going to be going back to Seattle now, 2 games up, and it's going to be George Kirby that's going to start for them in Game 3, then Louis Castillo, and you got to imagine at some point they're going to be whipping out Brian Wu because he made the roster, so he's not going to just be sitting on the bench forever. That was their ace this year, which is crazy because they just got a multitude of aces. Let's not even, we're not even talking about Logan Gilbert.
Logan Gilbert was bad last night. He was their worst pitcher in the series.
Yeah, keeping in mind, he did throw 2 innings on that 15-inning game. But still, he actually, there was a moment where Toronto was thinking, we might get back in this game.
Yeah.
Then they took Logan Gilbert out, and the Toronto offense just got absolutely ice cold. And that's a credit to this bullpen. This bullpen has been just wowing me with their capabilities to endure all of everything that they've had to deal with, right? The whole narrative was that this team was supposed to be fatigued and supposed to be tired and that they weren't capable of, pitching all these pitches. Meanwhile, you're getting guys out here all the time throwing 30-plus pitches.
Yeah.
Bizzardo came out and threw 30 yesterday, 36 from Vargas, and then 39 from Hancock. And the Toronto Blue Jays just do not get that. And this Blue Jays lineup that was walking in so hot has gone ice cold against that bullpen, against those starters.
Yeah, like I'm going to take a look right now what they've done against the bullpen. Collectively, this is crazy actually. Collectively, that bullpen's thrown 9 innings so far, so they've thrown half of the 18 innings that they've played. They've given up a collective 1 hit. 1 hit in 9 innings. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And when you look over at the Blue Jays lineup, the guys who are getting the hits, there aren't many. Yeah. It's been Nathan Lucas.
not a lot of hits to go around, plural here.
No. Like Nathan Lucas is the only guy who got the hit off the bullpen. He had a great game, and from a Blue Jay perspective, like if you don't know Nathan Lucas, I mean, he's a dog. Like he doesn't care who's on the bump. He's gonna get hits off you. But everybody else, George Springer, he has 2 hits. One was a homer, one's a double. So George having a decent series so far. But you need more. You need more contributions, and they're just not getting that. Only 3 other guys have 1 hit. Ernie Clement, down in the bottom part of the lineup. Kirk, who's in the middle part of that lineup, needs to drive in runs. Santander played 1 game, and then they got a back tightness and was out. Everybody else, I'm looking at the stars right here. I'm looking at Barger, who's a 4-hole hitter. Probably needs to switch things up if I'm John Schneider because he's not doing anything. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who said the Yankees lose, and rightfully so, he deserved it because he was 9 for 17 in that series with 3 home runs. He doesn't have a single hit in the series. Yeah. The Blue Jays aren't going to win this series if they're not going to. They don't win this series if they're going to play like this.
Well, and also as well, Dalton Varsho walked in as one of the hottest hitters for the Jays. He has actually done nothing.
Yeah,
he's done
literally nothing.
He has not walked or got a hit. He has not gotten on base one singular time. He struck out twice.
Yeah, terrible.
It's just dead, right?
Dead
and
spots.
like and that's all throughout the middle part of the lineup because typically how Toronto runs this out is Springer 1, Lucas 2. And those are the 2 guys who have, actually contributed now. And then the rest of everyone after that, it's just game over.
Yeah.
So, they've had a couple times where runners have been on, and no one is capable of cashing them in because Vladdy onwards, it's nothing
dead right now.
So credit to the Seattle Mariners for shutting down what was the hottest offense in the playoffs so far. An offense, by the way, that absolutely embarrassed the New York Yankees and their good pitching. And they do have good pitching. And then all of a sudden, Bryce Miller and Hancock and Bizzardo and these guys over there in Seattle, they can't do anything against them.
Yeah, and look, the Blue Jays formula is always going to be this way this season. If they don't have hitting, they're not going to win because walking into this postseason, they had the worst pitching staff. So, like, when I'm walking in this series, I expect the Mariners to put up runs. I expect them to put up 13 in 2 games. Probably not. That does feel like a lot. But if that happened, I wouldn't be surprised just based on how good they were. But I did expect the Blue Jays to give a little bit more of a fight than 4 runs in 2 games. But now they go over to Seattle. Starting tomorrow, they'll begin a little mini 3-game series in there. Effectively, the Mariners, if you want to win, just win the series. Win the series at home. You go to the World Series for the first time ever in your franchise. That'd be a huge moment for them. Let me ask you, do you think they're going to get it done? No Blue Jay bias involved? What do you think?
Well, right now, after the first 2 games, it's hard to think anything otherwise. I think that Seattle is going to be extremely motivated to finish this in Seattle.
Sure.
Because then you get to party and hang out at home. And then also, too, it's a massive break, right? Like, that's a massive time off. There's already going to be, close to a week of a window. Even if you go to Game 7 in the CS, to the World Series, you'll still get a significant amount of time. But if they were to never have to get on that flight back to Toronto, clearly that is the goal right now if you're the Seattle Mariners. Finish this off at home, party at home, celebrate with your fans, get as hammered as you want because you got a week and a half to relax, and then let the Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers fight it out. I'm looking at things right now, and and the bias is creeping in.
Yeah.
But taking the bias out, how do I not say that Seattle handles it at home?
Yeah, like I'm looking at pitching matchups right now. Shane Bieber and you got Kirby game 3. I'll say I think the Blue Jays are going to win that one, but then you got Max Scherzer versus Luis Castillo. That's easily the Mariners. Then probably Brian Wu up against Gosman at home, momentum. I think Seattle Mariners win this one in 5 is what it looks like right now.
That is what it's shaping up to be, folks. But let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like, smash that subscribe button. We will catch you next time.
Cheers.